What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast, the official podcast of the Geeks Company. My name is JS. Tonight we are doing a Geekly update, folks. It's been like over a month, actually over 2 months since we've done a Geekly update. There's a lot of news, but before we get into all of that, oh, and by the way, folks, I did get all your questions about what do you mean the possibly final Geekly update. We'll get into that in a little bit. Before we do, though, my compadre, Mr. Aka.
Mr. Aka.
Mr. Aka.
Mr.
How you doing, buddy?
I am much better. Thanks for everybody that reached out last week. I had a touch of, my guess is food poisoning. So I was down and out for about 24 to 36 hours. It was not fun, but I'm back at, I was going to say 100%, but at my age, it's never really... It's somewhere in the mid 60s, I think, or something like that. So, Hey, man, that's what we're here for. As JS mentioned, we're going to be talking about all things geek and nerd news that's occurred over the last probably month. Anyways, we've got some key things we're going to hit. We want your guys' feedback and impressions and reactions to what we're going to be talking about as well. And yes, this is not, I know a bunch of you messaged me as well. This is not the last Geek Boutique podcast, guys. Clearly, we would not just like sneak that into a post somewhere like, oh, it's our last podcast. No. You fuckers are stuck with us. So
no,
we just have something else in the works. We're going to talk to you about it. And
let's keep that for a little bit later in the show. How's that? Let's keep people waiting for a little bit.
Exactly.
I mean, we've kind of already talked about this before. So it's not like 100% news, but I mean, I guess you could call that news. Talking about the news, holy crap, man! I've got a list the size of my arm here of stuff that I wanted to talk about. I don't even know where to freaking start, man.
Well, we were just talking about Star Wars, so let's at least address
talk about Star Wars.
Some of the Star Wars stuff that has gone on recently. Anyways, some news dropped. We're not sure yet on what all is going to entail, but they had announced there were going to be 3 Star Trek movies that were going to be coming forth. Star Wars movies coming forth. One from James Mangold, one from, I forgive me, I don't know what her name is. The one that's going to be starring Daisy Ridley as Rey again. And then one by Dave Filoni that's going to take place in the Filoniverse. After all those were announced and after all those were confirmed, now we're hearing, and that's been confirmed, that we are getting The Mandalorian and Grogu done by Jon Favreau as the next Star Wars film that's going to come out in theaters. Now, guys, there hasn't been a Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker. Everything's been on television. So this will be the first opportunity for a film. We kind of want to know what you guys think. Now, what we don't know if this is going to supplant the 4th season. We don't know if this is going to be the end of that whole arc and story.
That's kind of the rumor, is that it's not the end of that arc and story, but that it's...
But if you continue it on, how do you go? Do you still have a 4th season of them? Are they going to do it like they do The Simpsons, where they're just going to put a movie out every so many years, or like SpongeBob?
No, I don't think so. I think
going
right now the plan is to do other shows within that world, right? All leading up to this movie, right? Now it's not going to stop Mando and Grogu from showing up on potentially other shows. We don't really know the full slate of what's going to happen between now and when this movie comes out.
So Christina is saying a 4th season was announced, like before they announced the movie or after they announced the movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I heard a rumor that this was meant to replace season 4, but let's be honest, if they're making a movie, a Star Wars movie, and it doesn't start production until later this year, we're not seeing that movie until next year at the earliest, and really more likely 2026, right? So really, we could be another 2 years before we see anything from Mando and Grogu again.
So Andrew Saxon saying, rumor is that the movie is now the last 2 episodes of season 4. So they'll essentially have season 4 on like a cliffhanger, and then if you want to know what happens, you got to go see the movie. Is that kind of what we're assuming?
I would take if that's what they did, because then
weird.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that move.
No,
because then it doesn't stand independently on its own. Then you have to watch. Like, is that going to mean that if you don't watch the 4th season, you're not going to have like, it's not going to be broad-based appeal if you have to have watched the whole show and you have to have watched the 4th season up until that point, and then you'll get what's going on. And if you haven't seen any of that, right? Like,
so yeah,
I really
you underestimate. Right? Yeah, but I think you underestimate a little bit the broadband appeal of The Mandalorian. I mean, everybody and their grandmother watches The Mandalorian.
Well, I'm not saying that they don't, but
Right?
you just automatically take out
Um,
everybody that doesn't. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? Not every single Star Wars fan has watched The Mandalorian. Not everybody likes it. And I'll tell you what, after the third season, it definitely lost some people. So I'm just saying you can make a Star Wars movie for everybody, or you make a Star Wars movie strictly for the Mandalorian fans. To me, it seems like you'd make a Star Wars movie for all the Star Wars fans, not just the Mandalorian fans. But guys, I don't know. Maybe it worked. Silky C saying that would suck. I don't think I like that if it's true. Lindsay saying that she hasn't watched The Mandalorian, so yeah.
I'll also agree with you that not everybody likes The Mandalorian, and the people that don't like The Mandalorian aren't gonna necessarily that don't watch The Mandalorian are not gonna understand what this movie is about. At the same time, that's true of any Star Wars franchise property, right? I mean, if you make a movie based on Rebels, then people haven't watched Rebels. Unless it's something new, nobody's gonna be invested in it 100%. Is what I'm trying to go with.
No, but you understand.
I don't know.
The original trilogy set up a series of characters and a series of arcs, and the prequels showed you how those arcs happened with its own arc, and then the sequels continued those arcs. What we're talking about with the Mandalorian Grogu is something else completely different.
Yeah,
it's established on a television show. That's all I'm trying to say is you're 100%. Not going to use 40 years of canon to build something out on. You're going to use 3 seasons of television that not everybody's seen.
We're slowly losing Jeff, folks.
Sorry, there we go. Sorry, my microphone slipped a little bit.
The
point is moot. I'm just saying it seems a weird move if that's good. Now, again, we want to point out this is a rumor that Andrew heard and is passing on to us. It's not necessarily.
We don't. I had heard it was replacing season 4. Either way, I found it to be a weird decision to make it specifically the Mandalorian and Grogu and not make it something more generic based in that time frame.
Which is Filoni's movie. Filoni's movie is supposed to be like the Mando-verse. It's supposed to tie in all the different Mando.
Are they calling it the Mandalorian and Grogu, right? I don't know. So
No. That's Favreau's movie. Filoni's movie is still happening.
Isn't this the same movie? This is the same movie.
No, sir. This is Favreau's film. You and I have actually discussed this before, and I know you still don't believe me, but it's true. Filoni's film is still happening.
You're okay. Fair enough. Favreau is directing this movie.
That's correct.
And but Dave Filoni is still producing. Oh, so correct. Filoni's also directing his own movie.
Correct.
That is also still happening.
That is correct.
Okay. So here's the thing, and here's the issue that I have with all of this, and I think we quickly talked about this earlier, and you seem to think that it's meh, whatever, it doesn't really mean anything, but I feel like they announced 3 properties, right? They've announced this movie, the James Mangold Story of the Force movie, and the Rey New Jedi Order, or whatever they're tentatively calling it. But again, like I was saying earlier to you before we went on the air, none of this is on the Star Wars website. When you go to StarWars.com, the Mandalorian and Grogu is front and center. It's everywhere. It's in the news. It's at the top of the movies page. It's the next thing, right? It's all over the place. The other 2 movies, there's not a single mention of them anywhere. And I almost feel like they're still in those stages where, yeah, they're talking about them. And yes, they've tapped somebody to start working on something, but like so many other Star Wars properties, I would bet money that these 2 specific ones will probably never see the light of day.
They were announced officially through Star Wars channels when they were originally put out there. That's all. I know you can't find them on StarWars.com, but that's obviously not the end all be all of what's coming Star Wars.
Well, no, for sure.
They've named directors, they've named writers, they've greenlit the films. It's not like Tarantino's Star Trek film. It's not like Taika Waititi's Star Wars film. It's not like it's still stuck in development. Like they don't start naming directors and film titles and shit when it's just a pie in the sky idea. But
I don't know, man. How many times do we hear about a director being tapped on for a movie and that movie gets canceled, or the director leaves?
Oh, that could very well
happens.
No, for sure, that could very well be.
You know what I mean?
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is these weren't rumors; these were official announcements from Disney saying that these are the directors and these are the films and this is what they're going to be.
If they're official announcements from Disney, those official announcements are not on the Star Wars website.
Right.
All I'm saying.
I didn't take the time to fully research this and show you where the official announcements are, but I'm sorry they're not on StarWars.com. But You know
found
what?
that weird.
None of this matters.
It does.
Who fucking cares?
It
Either it's going to happen or it's not. Like I said, the director and writer of the Daisy Ridley led one is doing interviews talking about what the movie is going to be about. Daisy Ridley is doing interviews talking about how she's excited to get started. I feel like that's not going to be in the pipeline. There's certainly not. Disney's not trotting those people to do interviews for a movie that's never going to happen. That's just.
Oh, you mean like Obi-Wan Kenobi doing
stupid.
interviews for an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that never happened?
No, but that did the show.
But the movie never happened.
Okay.
Or the Boba Fett movie that also turned into a show.
We're fucking 10 minutes in, and all we're gonna do is argue about
you know what I mean?
stupid Star Wars shit.
So just
God damn it.
Just say it.
That's not
talking about.
You're right.
Talking about Star Trek.
Star Trek, those wacky far treks.
Section 31 started filming.
It did indeed.
Principal photography
by the way,
started
we have
2 days
30
ago.
viewers right now. Now that we're talking Star Trek, watch this just fucking
fall
off a cliff.
fall off a cliff. We'll be
Just
quick,
plummet.
guys. We'll be quick. Unfortunately, there's not a lot going on with Star Trek right now other than Section 31. They've released some images. Well, some images. They released a picture of Michelle Yeoh holding the clapperboard to show that they were starting production.
Called the fuck out, by the way. Here's Silky. See, me just over here eating popcorn, listening to these two bicker like a married couple. Called out. Yes.
Make sure you stick with us
works.
because if you're liking what you're seeing, you're gonna want to stick to.
Yes, we have an announcement.
Find out.
We still haven't even figured out the logistics yet, but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Our friend Stephanie saying I'm excited for that one, and our friend Michael, a longtime friend Michael.
I'm really excited for Section 31. I love Michelle Yeoh. She's one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah. So, guys, for those that don't know, Star Trek Discovery had Michelle Yeoh on as a character, and she actually played 2 different characters, but they were both Michelle Yeoh. And they were planning on doing a Section. They wrote her character off the show, and they were planning on doing a Section 31 show based on her. Section 31, by the way, is like the Black Ops, the secret police, the intelligence arm of Starfleet
CIA
in Star Trek.
Starfleet.
She, but then Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, and she won like a fucking Oscar, and she's now a giant Hollywood star. And she basically said, "I can't commit to a television show, but I want to produce essentially made for streaming movie." Because I love this character, I love this world, I still want to do this. I can just only do it in this. So they converted it from a television show to it's going to be on Paramount Plus as a streaming film, and they're filming it right now. And like JS said, right now it's kind of it's like the little crumb for us Trekkies to kind of get us through the night, because this is all we've got to sort of know that's coming. I'm beside myself. I can't believe Michelle Yeoh is here. Yeah.
So she's in town filming right now. Apparently, filming is going all the way through to the end of March.
Yeah, I guess she's super passionate about the project and the character, guys. Like, she was really chomping at the bit to get to this movie.
She's producing the movie, isn't she?
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Like, she's a big part of the film.
Yeah.
So that bodes well, I think, for what we could potentially see. And let's be fair, if Paramount's smart, they know she's a big star. They should throw some money at this. Like, this should look really good. Most of the new Trek does anyway, but I have a feeling this one they're really good, because we've never seen a lot of the Section 31 stuff. Like, we've been given tidbits here and there throughout. I know there was some on I think it was introduced on DS9, and then we've had some little blips and blups here and there, but it'd be nice if we got a real meat and potatoes of what Section 31 is, what they do, what her role is going to be in it, and that kind of stuff. So
are you worried a little bit that, what makes Section 31 so appealing for me anyway was always a little bit of the mystique of Section 31, because you don't really know much about who they are, what they're about, where they're from, who's commanding them, like who's giving them orders, right? Like, I mean, so anyway, I'm a little bit worried that this is going to be too revealing, and I don't want it to be. I think they need to keep it to the style of Section 31 episodes that we've seen, where Section 31 is involved in this big thing, but I don't want to see too much world building of Section 31. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think you nailed it. If it had stayed a show, I think we were in real danger if it was a weekly series, even if it was only 8 episodes. That's still 8 hours of TV.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting a 2-hour movie, I think we're probably in better shape to not have too much revealed as far as what Section 31, because there was a big Section 31 storyline on Discovery. That's why it's coming back around to that. So it's not like we haven't seen any of it, but you're right. Some of that mystique would kind of get rubbed off if
Nita says, I'd love to see some DS9 Easter eggs. I mean, I would too. DS9 is the best of the Treks.
Oh shit!
And it's not impossible, because isn't the last time we see Georgiou when she walks through the
Guardian of Forever?
The Guardian of Forever, yeah. That's the last time we see her, correct?
Correct. That's
so correct. We don't know what point in time she ends up in.
That's also correct.
Now, could she be jumping from time period to time period in this show? That could be another. So yeah, there could be some DS9 Easter eggs. Christina says JS has lost his mind. Ha! Freaking right.
The best Trek ever. I know.
I would love to see some DS9.
Put the fucking bong pipe down.
Oh, please.
Settle down. You and Nada are on an island.
Hands down
on this one.
Yeah, see,
Christina disagrees. Michael disagrees. Yeah, come on, guys. That's crazy.
No, the best of the Treks.
That's.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
I will admit it had a rough start.
Deep
I will admit
Sleep
that.
9. Jesus wept. Was that a boring show?
But when season 4 hit, holy shit, man, that show turned around.
And when you get into the 80th episode, then it really finds its fuck off.
Well, it's more like the 120th episode.
Yeah, I can't. It's not. It's not.
Hey, because those shows back then were like 26 episodes of season 2, right? So that was a lot of TV and a lot of world building, which I do not want to see.
I disagree
for Section 31.
Yeah, I told you it's him and Nada on an island. It's a lonely island. It's
just
the two of them.
That's okay.
Plant your flag in that island. That's fine. You can do that. Hey, speaking
it's all right if you guys are wrong. It's all right. I mean, there's no shame in that.
I have a feeling I know why people are joining us, because it's more arguing. Woohoo! Yeah, exactly. Listen,
guys, I want to talk about.
But
I want to talk about
best track ever. That's crazy.
Listen to me.
Yeah, so
I want to talk about some of the rumors.
Jesus wept.
And the reason why I want to talk about some of the rumors is because I think
you fucking
in
love
our new show.
Why.
I think in our new. Oh, I just said our new show. I just spoiled the beans.
Yeah, you did. You dumb shit.
Guys,
fine.
So the reason why this is going to be the last Geekly update is because we're not going to be doing the news on the podcast anymore. From now on, if you want to get the news from the Geeks, it's brand new own YouTube show. It will likely still be live. We haven't figured out the logistics of the when and the how often, and it might be more of a spontaneous thing, but we will have a new show called
The Geekly World News.
Welcome. Geekly World
News. Yes. So if you guys are familiar with the Weekly World News, which was like a tabloid rag from back in the 90s that had like Batboy, that was their big character that they were famous for. So we're calling it the Geekly World News. Jason and I will get together and spend half an hour to 40 minutes talking about the news of the week in geek and nerd stuff. We would like to do it live. We're trying to figure out a good day to do it. So some suggestions from you guys. You guys are our base. We'd like you guys to be tuning in. It's essentially going to be a second podcast, just a little bit shorter. Getting some ideas from you guys as to when we could do that. That would be good for you guys to watch. That would be fantastic. So write in. Maybe we'll put up a poll or put up a story or something on the main Geeks Co channel. What date and time would work best for you guys overall, and we'll see what we can do. And of course, it's got to fit into our schedule as well. So for sure.
But let us know what would kind of work for you. So I think we need to work in rumors into the show, because keeping with the Weekly World News, which was a tabloid, a lot of the stuff that they published in there wasn't actual news, right? So I think that when there are rumors like this Picard movie rumors, I think we need to at least acknowledge them and address them. I'm assuming you've heard about this.
I have.
Guys, I'm sure you knew, like they had announced before they had even started production on season 3 of Picard, that season 3 was going to be not Monday, not biased at all. Don't worry, Michael. We won't do it. We won't try to ruin your
Mondays
show.
Mondays at 7. It's the Geekly World News.
So yeah, they announced that this was going to be the last season of Picard. And I guess to save face and not do another season of Picard, now they're doing a Picard movie now. Yeah, guys, none of this has been officially announced.
Yes, definitely.
This is all still very much rumor. There is another YouTube channel that I've been following for many years now, who surprisingly enough has had the scoop on a lot of stuff. So take this with a grain of salt or not.
Losing her fucking mind. I'm screaming. What?
Yeah. So a Picard
movie. Fair, at the end of season 3 of Picard, even though they said it was the last season of Star Trek Picard, Patrick Stewart himself said, I could do more. I could keep going with this character. I feel like there's more to tell. I don't know if like an actual theatrical release. I could see, much like they did with Section 31, I could see like a made for streaming movie.
So that's where I'm going with this.
Fine with that.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this.
I don't think there's really anything to tie up as far as his character goes. I don't know what better send-off you could give him than what you gave him at the end of Picard season 3. So believe it or not, I'm actually not down for this. I'm kind of hoping this doesn't happen. He's not as spry as he used to be. You can really start to see his age now. Even shooting, they were talking with Jonathan Frakes. They had an interview with him on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, and he was talking about how they would basically shoot all of Patrick Stewart's scenes first thing in the morning to get all of his scenes out of the way, and then he would leave. Like, he'd be done by lunch, and the whole rest of the cast and crew had to be there for the entire day to do all their shooting, just to make sure that he was okay with the fact that he's a little bit older and not as spry as he used to be. So how are you gonna Nada Tan, like, how are you gonna top Picard season 3? I don't think you can, man.
Like, I don't think you can either.
Might be the greatest season of Trek that's ever been.
Yeah, that's peak Star Trek for me. I don't know that there's been ever any Star Trek as good as that. And here's the rumor, and here's where the rumor is, because they've been talking about a Picard movie for a little bit of time now. They've also been now talking about Star Trek Legacy for a little bit of time now.
I just saw something recently that was really disappointing.
Yeah, so my understanding of the way that this rumor works is that what is actually going on at Paramount is that there's a work in the deal. There's a deal in the works, with Amazon, where Amazon would help the financing of Star Trek shows, but Amazon would then get the exclusive on the shows. The Picard movie, for example, would be a Picard movie streaming on Amazon, right? Legacy would be streaming on Amazon first and then on Paramount Plus type deal, right? And then Amazon is actually paying Paramount for the production of these TV shows. So they'd be a shared, like it used to be with CBS and Paramount, right? For years, CBS and Paramount shared Star Trek. Now we'd have some sort of a similar thing going on with Amazon to help finance more Star Trek, because they want to keep doing Star Trek, because let's be honest, Star Trek has been Paramount's cash cow. When Paramount Plus came out, the only real thing they were banking on was Trek. It was the only real original production back then, other than Yellowstone. So, things are happening in the world of Trek. Keep an eye open for that.
So they talked to a gentleman named Dave Blass, who was a production designer on Star Trek Picard. And they asked him specifically about Legacy, and his exact words were, "It's just a nice idea. There are no talks at this time." Quoting Paramount, Star Trek Legacy isn't a thing, he states, so it's not in development and it's not in any way moving forward. Until that changes, it's just a cool idea. So, I mean,
I've read another quote that says it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Okay. This was yesterday, and from a guy that was on Picard season 3, like one of the production designers. So, I mean, rumors abound. Who knows? Nothing would make me happier than if we got a Star Trek Legacy show.
I would prefer Legacy over Picard.
100%. And have him like just float in every now and then for a cameo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gets I don't know, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Have it centered on Jerry Ryan and the new pretty boy Picard, and then or not Picard, Crusher. And
100% agree.
Right?
Yeah. I would watch the shit out of that show. So, Picard, I am worried, but we'll see.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
We'll see.
Guys, let's shift a little bit. Let's go back to Disney, but let's get to the other big IP for Disney. Let's talk a little bit about Marvel. We've just seen a post from Ryan Reynolds talking about how Deadpool 3 has wrapped filming and is still supposed to be coming out this year. I don't know how that's possible, but they're still shooting for their original targeted date, even though the film just wrapped. That seems like not a lot of time to get a film VFX done, cut, edited, and ready to go for whenever it's supposed to come out. I can't remember. Guys, it's going to be really important for you to understand. And we talked about this in the podcast when the strike was happening, how much the strike is going to impact what's going to happen in 2024. The MCU is a shining example. Would you guys care to guess how many movies the MCU is releasing in 2024?
Should we put a little like Jeopardy?
How many movies are going to be released by the
No Googling it.
Yeah, don't Google it. You tell me how many movies are coming out this year for the MCU. Yeah, you guys got it. Silky, Andre, Megan, Keith. Yeah, one. Deadpool 3. It is the only one. In fact, guys, there's only going to be, even with the MCU shows, the Disney Plus shows, there's only going to be 3 live action projects being released this year.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
Compared to what we've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it too. So, guys, just so you know, it is the one sole movie is going to be Deadpool 3. There's going to be 6 shows that are going to come up, but 4 of them are animated shows. So there's only 2 live action shows. Echo, which has already come out. So for all of 2024, guys, the remaining of 2024, you have 1 movie and 1 live action show to see, and that's it. So, and by the way, there's not going to be any DC projects at all. So this is going to be a real like test to see, is it really superhero fatigue? Because we're all going to get about a year off from it before it all comes back again in 2025. There is Madam Web, Kraven, and Venom 3. Absolutely.
Those are not MCU projects.
Yes, I did say MCU specifically and not Marvel. So those are 3 Sony films. So, and to be fair, 2 of them look like the hottest garbage. So we'll see what happens with those. Madam Web and Kraven, that Kraven trailer might still be the worst trailer I've ever seen for a major blockbuster film. Madam Web, I mean,
missed the mark so hard on a
I hope Madam Web is good. Like, I'm actually internally cheering for Madam Web, but I mean, everything I've seen from it just looks disastrous. But again, I don't want to judge it yet, but whew. Yes, so you're right. It is 3 Marvel movies from Sony, so they're all Spider-Verse films. But as far as the greater MCU goes, you get 1 movie and you get 1 more live action show, and that's all you're getting, guys.
That's it.
So I'm glad you guys are weighing in on this, because I do think it is time to take a step back. And I mean, this one is based more on circumstance than anything else. And from what I've been reading about Deadpool 3, they just talked to, I think it was Matthew Vaughn, who is not involved in Deadpool 3, but knows the gentleman that's Sean Levy that's directing Deadpool 3 and has some tidbits about Deadpool 3. And he says this is going to be sort of like the shock that the MCU needs, the clear and bang, and then get it back on its feet to get people back into the MCU. And I think if it's as good as we're hoping it's going to be, and if it's the only thing that's out that year, it probably has a good chance of doing that, to reignite interest, because you're not just getting constantly slammed in the face with MCU stuff. It's going to be real thin out there, guys. Like, even the animated stuff, I don't even know how much of the animated stuff is going to be like in universe. Like, one of the animated shows is Marvel Zombies. Well, that's clearly not going to be like in whatever. I know it's 199999 or 616 or whatever they want to call it, but it's clearly not going to be in the main universe, not the main MCU. None of the Sony stuff's in the main MCU. So yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. Because let's be fair, if Deadpool 3 comes out and bombs, if it's dog shit, is it kind of like the end of the MCU at that point? Like, if there's nothing else coming out and the one thing that came out was terrible and it bombs? I know they have a slate, but I mean, like, do we all just collectively like, fuck this, we're all done now? Like,
I don't know. And I'll say this. I cannot see Deadpool 3 with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine bombing. It's not going to bomb. It's just that simple, right? That movie's going to make bank. Now I'm hearing rumors of all sorts of cameos, right? The girl from Logan, X-23, right? What was her name? There's rumors she's in it as an older X-23. Patrick Stewart is rumored to be in this. Jennifer Garner as Elektra.
Oh, that's not a rumor. That's a fact.
So there you go.
Absolutely in it. Yeah.
There you go. So the Ben Affleck Daredevil is in the Deadpool verse.
Yeah, we know it's going to be irreverent. We know it's going to be a lot of fourth wall breaking. We know there's going to be cameos just for shits and giggles cameos, right?
Yeah, listen. I can't see.
Dude, I hope so. I really do. I know there were a lot of people that didn't enjoy Deadpool 2. I love Deadpool 2, but there were a lot of the fan base that did not like it compared to the first one. So I'm just hoping, because you got to remember, the first two Deadpools were Fox vehicles. They were not made by Disney Marvel. This will be the first Deadpool made by Disney Marvel. And they said they're going to respect the legacy, the tone of the first two films, but it's still Disney, right? Like I'm really like, guys, all my fingers and toes are crossed. I want this to be so good. I'm pissed off. There's probably not going to be a Cable cameo, but whatever. Fuck them. They don't know what's good. But are you done with DC though, Tanith? That was going to be the segue. We're going to talk a little bit about DC because some major DC news happened this week as well. Like literally in the last few days, some major DC news happened. So
actually, before we get into that, I think it's also worth pointing out that, and I think everybody knows by this point, the Netflix Marvel shows have now been made canon within the MCU.
Wild.
Which if I was
wild.
Netflix, I would be out for fucking blood.
How wild is that? I love how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be canon and the Netflix shows weren't. And now Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon and the Netflix shows are. Even though Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was way more MCU-like than the Netflix shows were. But now they want to try to build off that tone of the Netflix shows like they kind of tried to do with Echo and what they're going to clearly be doing with Born Again and everything else. So for you guys, interesting. I would love a Green Lantern reboot. So segueing into the DC stuff, guys, this marks, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was today. This marks the 1-year anniversary of when James Gunn was revealed not only as the head of DC Studios, but he revealed the slate that was coming up. Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, the 10 projects that we're supposed to be encompassing. One of those projects is called Lanterns. It's a television project. It's supposed to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart basically playing like good cop, bad cop Green Lanterns, investigating a murder on Earth. So there is going to be lanterns, Green Lanterns, in the new iteration of DCU. It's just going to be a television base. So I imagine it's going to be much more grounded, that kind of thing. So but that's part and parcel. They did talk to James Gunn in the last couple of days, and they asked him if the strikes affected the slate, is what's going on, because he did talk about 10 projects, and he said some things had to get shifted around, some things got moved up, some things got moved back, some things got added in. So it may not be that exact 10 that we're going to see, but I think it's fair to say that we're still going to see lanterns in some way, shape, or form. It's an IP they want to invest in.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so too. That being said, that's not the news.
That's not the news. There is DC news. That's not it.
There is DC news. That's right. They have found their Supergirl.
They have, in fact, found their Supergirl. It came down to 2 people, and now it's been confirmed.
Well, it really did only come down to, that's right, Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon. She plays young Rhaenyra. Was fantastic on that show, man. I didn't know who she was before that. I had never even seen her before.
I don't think she blew me away. Yeah, I don't think she had a lot of roles before that. I think that was an early role for her, and it's nice that she got to play the younger version of Rhaenyra. If you've not watched House of the Dragon, there's a time jump in the middle of the series, so they hire completely different actresses to play those specific roles. Alison Hightower, and Rhaenyra Targaryen. She played the younger version of Rhaenyra Targaryen. So once they aged them up, they hired a new actor to portray that character. So she's now released from the show. So now she can be Supergirl. It has not been confirmed by James Gunn if she's going to appear in Superman Legacy, which is the first big major movie project for DC coming out in July of 2025. But when they do shoot Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which I think is what they're calling it, it will be Millie Alcock that's going to portray her. Again, by the way, guys, I'm sure this is all going to be really, really heavily influenced by how well Superman Legacy does. So if that craters, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of investment in stuff moving forward. So,
and that's supposed to be the first one to come out, right?
Technically, Creature Commandos is the first in-universe thing that's going to come out, but that's an animated television show. Superman Legacy, because it's going to be a big budget movie, is really supposed to be the thing that really launches the whole damn thing. And there's supposed to be all kinds of different characters in that. He's just not confirmed whether Supergirl is going to be in that or appear in that or not. So yeah, even Good said he only knew her from House of the Dragon. So yeah, that's the only thing I've seen her in. I don't know if she had a lot of work before that. So we'll see. I don't know what yellow melons have to do with it. Victoria, help me out with that. Is that? I mean, that's Green Lantern's weakness is the color yellow and probably melons. I mean, let's be fair. Certainly my weakness. That's for sure. Anyways, yeah, Millie Alcock, guys. I'm going to be curious. She was great on House of the Dragon, but yeah, she was in 4 episodes of House of the Dragon, and then her character was aged up and she was off the show. And I don't know that if she's been in anything else, I've never seen it. So she's almost a blank slate for me. I have no idea if she's going to be any good or not. But apparently James Gunn was like, she had the best screen test I've ever seen. Like he was like so high up on her when she came in and did the original screen test for Supergirl. He was just like, yeah, that's the one. So
listen, I don't know. I loved her in House of the Dragon. I think she was amazing. How well she'll do in or as Supergirl, like you say, it's really going to be dependent on how well this whole series kicks off, right? If Superman sucks,
it's going to be real hard if that's going to be the movie that launches everything. It's going to be real tough to keep anything going. Guys, if you do want some insight into what the Supergirl movie is being inspired by, you can pick up Tom King's run on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Apparently that is the inspiration. I don't know if they're going to adapt that specifically, but that is the inspiration for where they're going with the character. It is supposed to be she's a darker, edgier Supergirl. She's not going to be quite the cheerleader sort of fun time Supergirl that she gets portrayed as mostly in like the Girl Scout, basically. I think they want to move away from just her just being a blonde female Superman. They want to move her more towards her own distinct characterization, and I'm on board for that. I think that's a really good idea. I don't know if dark and edgy has worked super well for DC movies thus far. It's kind of what killed the last thing, but hopefully they can keep it still. It's James Gunn still, right? So hopefully they can keep it on a light enough edge that darker and edgier is not going to mean like all the colors washed out and it's raining all the time. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't hate what they did with Supergirl and the Flash. I mean, I will admit that out of that movie, she was one of the least.
Oh, Sasha Calle was fantastic. Yeah, I was really hoping they would continue with her character.
But clearly they aren't.
Well, the Flash bombed, and
You see the movie. Well, if you see the movie, the character was never meant to survive, right? That's the whole point of that character.
Right.
This is however many times he tries to save her.
Spoiler alert.
Well, there's the whole catalyst, right? She's the
100%. Yeah.
So
catalyst, you're right. Yeah.
So she was never meant to survive, but
correct.
She was fantastic in that role. It was so good to see Michael Keaton back, by the way, as Batman. I know we're going off script there a little bit, but fuck, man, bring me more Keaton Batman. I would love it. I think that if you take Michael Keaton out of the Flash, that movie is I mean, it makes zero money.
Yeah. I think the only way I would want to see Keaton return at this point would be if they finally ever did a Batman Beyond.
Oh, I would love that.
If they did a Batman Beyond, for those uneducated, Batman Beyond was a TV show where a new Batman, Terry McGinnis, took over, and Bruce Wayne was the guy in the chair. He was an older Bruce Wayne that would be on the mic, and he would be, helping young Terry McGinnis be Batman. I think that would work out really well if you put Michael Keaton in that role. Having said that, pretty good segue. Michael Keaton is clearly not done reviving old characters of his. Released, what was it, today or maybe yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was today.
Beetlejuice is the poster. The official poster was released, and we are getting a sequel to the original Beetlejuice, one of Burton's most celebrated movies, maybe his most celebrated film. It's probably my favorite Burton film. It's one of those films that I could just turn on anytime and just watch, or if you're flipping around the channels and it's on TV, I'll stop and watch Beetlejuice at any point, sort of in where it's going. So the squeal I let out. Yeah. All kinds of squealing going on there for sure.
I mean, Beetlejuice is one of those cult classics that, I think, everybody's seen for probably the last, 5 or 6 generations, right? I mean, well, maybe not that far back, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
Everybody.
It has a broad-based appeal for sure.
It really does. Yeah. They've been talking about this for a long time. There had never really been a lot of updates on, okay, what's going on? Like, has filming happened? Or did you start filming? Are you done filming? Like, what's going on? Well, clearly, now we know the movie's coming out this year. It's coming out in September.
Not to be Johnny Killjoy here, but I think we have to address the elephant in the room. Beetlejuice, like we just said, is a celebrated, transcendent classic, appeals to all ages, all walks of life. How could this film possibly measure up to that film 30 years later? You know what I mean? Like,
I know
how
exactly
can
what you
this
mean.
how can this not somehow besmirch? Because that movie's not just a great movie. What it's got is 30 years of nostalgia for us too. Even if you haven't watched it recently, you have fond memories of this movie because it was such a impactful film for so many people in our generation, for millennial, like for a whole, at least 2 generations of people love this fucking movie. And now you're going to try to do a sequel 30 years later. That's a big ask, man. Like, that's.
Can I tell you how? Can I tell you how?
Yeah, please let me
Can I
know.
tell you how?
Just Michael Keaton and Tim Burton's
Wednesday.
not enough. What do you
Wednesday.
mean? What does that mean?
It's the team behind Wednesday that's making this movie, and Jenna Ortega is playing Lydia's daughter.
Right.
The story is not about Lydia anymore. It's about her daughter, who is Wednesday. And it's the team behind Wednesday making this movie, who I think pretty much have the look and feel down already. I think this movie is gonna be bonkers. It's gonna make bank. Is it gonna get compared to the first movie? 100%. Is it gonna be as good as the first movie? Maybe not. Is it gonna be good enough to bring in all the young kids, fans into the world of Beetlejuice and then want to go see the original? 100%. I think there's no there's no way this doesn't work. There's no downside to making this movie as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I hope you're all right, Matt. Matt asking why it's a big ass. I think I explained that pretty succinctly. It's sequels, especially after this much time for such a beloved film. Like, if the film's a 10 and the sequel's a 7, you're going to be disappointed. Even if the sequel's an 8, you're still going to be like,
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
100%.
But if the sequel's a 5, you're going to be mad because it's going to fuck up your childhood, right? Like, you're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. How about Ghostbusters 2016? Do you remember Ghostbusters 2016? Yeah. So, I mean, it's not, guys, I love Jenna Ortega too. I get it. I don't know that one person can completely make this movie, especially since that person wasn't alive when the first film came out.
I don't think it's necessarily just her making the movie as much as it's
just everybody's saying, like,
the writers.
She's saying Ortega, right? Nate saying Ortega, Toxic Fox is saying Ortega, Tan's saying Ortega, she's saying Wednesday nailed it. That's all I'm saying. Like, you have, I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm not even saying it won't be as good as the original. I'm saying,
but if it isn't,
they have a mountain decline because
yes,
the original
100%.
set the bar so fucking high. It's really, really hard. Yeah, can we just talk about the Hocus Pocus sequel? Garbage, but it's so anticipated. Well, this is kind of what I'm talking about. When you come back to a beloved franchise after so many years, if you don't absolutely fucking nail it, you can't. Yeah. You're going to get compared to the original, and if it's not good, no, and that's cool, Tanith. I get it. Like, every legacy Jenna touches turns to gold. But if the writing is dog shit, then she can't carry the whole movie on her back by herself. That's not how it works. I've seen her work. It's not it. So, like,
Andre says, the ceiling is Top Gun, the floor is the last Indiana Jones movie. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you have opportunities to make it work,
and
then you have opportunities where it should work and it doesn't. Like, you're saying, like, Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg, Indiana Jones, you're like, how could this be bad? And then it's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? I just lost 2 hours that I'm never going to get back. So that's all I'm trying to say, guys, is it has the potential to ruin your fucking childhood. So just be prepared. It's
Fox says, I'm just excited to see more of the Beetlejuice world again. I mean, I think a lot of people have that. And I think that's where they're winning, because they've already won. I think is the thing here for me. And the marketing is where they've won already, right? They're selling you on the nostalgia of the original Beetlejuice, and they're selling you on the biggest hit since the pandemic, which is Wednesday, right? So I don't know. I think they've already won, but we'll have to see. I hope it's good. I'm not saying it's going to be good.
I hope it is. I hope it is too. I hope
it's good.
I fucking love the first one, and I've seen it a million times. I've already said that. I hope against all hope that this is fantastic, that it measures up to the original. I just think it's a big ask. That's all I'm trying to say. Yes, Dial of Destiny. Guys, Dial of Destiny, I agree with you. Dial of Destiny was certainly better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but that's like saying it was like wetter than the desert. Like, it's it's really easy to be better than King of the Crystal Skull. It was still nowhere near as good as the first 3 films. So like,
yeah.
yeah.
I
if
haven't even
Crystal's,
seen.
guys, if Dial of Destiny is the 4th film, if Crystal Skull doesn't exist, Dial of Destiny ends up being shit on. Not as bad as Crystal Skull, but Dial of Destiny is just going to be a forgotten movie because it wasn't as good as the first 3. So yeah, it's tough to be. You can't be young again. You can't be 1986 again. To recapture that magic is a hard thing to do. That's what I'm saying. That's. I feel like we've already spent way too much time on this. I'm sorry. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it when I'm Debbie Downer. Fuck you guys.
It's Anya has a good comment saying here, keep an open mind. It's probably going to be aimed at this generation's kids.
Absolutely. But you know what? Fuck them kids. Right? I'm an old man. I get to be cranky. Get off my goddamn lawn. Stop making sequels to movies from 30 years ago, you bastards. Oh, speaking of sequels to movie 30 years ago, a new trailer dropped for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Correct.
So let's talk real quickly about the first teaser trailer that came out for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and what a dog shit teaser trailer that was.
It was.
I think we were all in universal agreements. It looked fucking terrible.
Yeah.
The trailer that came out, though, looks good. It certainly looks better than that terrible fucking trailer.
Hang on. It's an Onion says you need a bigger mug.
I think.
Oh, she's talking to you. I was gonna say it's bigger on the inside.
JS has mug envy. That's what it is.
I was gonna say mine's bigger on the inside, but you know.
Yeah. Toxic Fox saying the real travesty is what they're doing to the Land Before Time. See, you can't go back again, man. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. This new trailer. Okay, so first of all, I want to make sure everybody knows if you were not aware. So when the Ghostbusters trailer came out on Monday, Tuesday, whenever the trailer came out, 2 versions of the trailer came out. There's the North American. No, that's not what they call it. They call it the domestic version of the trailer.
Yep.
And then there was the international trailer, and everybody saw the domestic trailer, and everybody loved it because it was
way better than the
teaser.
That teaser was fucking terrible.
The international trailer is miles better than the domestic trailer. The international Ghostbusters trailer, I got to tell you, one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time, period. Guys, if you haven't seen the international trailer, go check it out. I'm so pumped about this movie. Guys, Peck comes back, and he's now the mayor. Do you remember Peck?
Well, he's in the domestic trailer too. He plays a big part in the domestic trailer. Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for this movie. This movie is going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
They're definitely leaning into the nostalgia aspect, probably even more than they did in the first one, because Bill Murray is back, Dan Aykroyd is back. Now we get Peck back. Yep. We get Ernie Hudson back. We get Annie Potts back.
Well, she was in the previous one as well, but just for a couple minutes.
Yeah, but she's got a fucking uniform and
she's busting ghosts.
Package.
Yeah, she'll be busting ghosts.
Makes her feel good. So it looks like all the pieces are there.
Yeah,
and I did enjoy Afterlife, so I'm again same thing. I'm hoping it's like it's the first in the OGs. Yeah, I mean, if you can have, I mean. Bill Murray does tell the worst joke in the trailer itself, like the devil's here and he's horny or something. Whatever he says, it's so cringe. But everything else in that trailer looks fucking killer. So
I mean, it's Venkman. What are you going to expect? I mean, of course he's going to make a cringe, inappropriate line. Like it's Venkman. Come on, dude.
I had a bit of a crush on Potts. You weren't the only one. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Lewis was a lucky man. That's for sure. Especially
the Ghostbusters 2 version.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Lewis got to get out on that. He got to tap that.
Yeah, man, I love those movies. Man, I wish Afterlife had made more money. Yes. I'm disappointed. I mean, we obviously got a sequel anyway, but it didn't make a ton of money. I hope this one does better. If you didn't cry during the reveal in Afterlife, you have no soul. Yeah, 100%. Especially since he looked so
unless you're
real.
A kid and it's the new generation for the kids, and the kids just trying to get the kids appeal for the generation. They're like, yeah. What'd I say? Sorry, what was the quote? The quote was up here somewhere. What was it again? There we go. Victoria Brown. Yep. Fuck them kids. Jeff 2024. That's right. That's right. That one was for us, man. That's
going on a t-shirt, folks. That's going on a t-shirt.
That's right. No, guys, I thought Afterlife was good, and after Ghostbusters 2016, which we're not going to get into now because I think that's some pitfalls that we don't want to fall into. I think there was some audience disconnect with the IP overall. So I think Afterlife kind of had enough uphill battle to fight, but it did, and it won a lot of people over even after the fact. So now we're getting another film. The title's not great, but at least the trailers look a lot better now. So hopefully we're going to look at a really good film moving forward. And
I like that it's a new bad guy.
Yeah.
And I like that they're kind of going, the way I see it, they're going a little bit of the Ghostbusters 2 route, right? Where it's a new bad guy. It's going to be back in New York. The city's under attack. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm really jacked. I can't wait.
Yeah, I gotta admit, man, Ghostbusters 2 got shit on a lot, but it's like a guilty pleasure film for me. Like, I get that it's not great, but I kind of don't care. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough in it that I still dig it, and they do end up walking around the Statue of Liberty. That's pretty dope. So
yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, I mean, it was nowhere as good as the first one, but it's fantastic.
We still got there. Kids. Come on now. It's still good,
guys.
Who it's still got some great
do we have horror fans?
Suck
I'm assuming we have horror fans in the audience. In the audience.
Horror fans. What are you talking about? Horror?
Yeah. So, guys, it was announced. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly when, but they did announce that the zombie apocalypse movie 28 Days Later is actually getting a sequel called 28 Years Later, and Cillian Murphy is coming back for this movie.
He is coming back as an executive producer for now. He's not confirmed if he'll be acting in the new movie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So 28 Days Later was the original, which was quite good. 28 hours later was great. No, 28 Days Later was the original. It was great. 28 weeks later was the sequel, and it was not great. And now we're getting 28 years later. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, 28 weeks later was kind of
not good. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
But 28 Days Later, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of launched Cillian Murphy, sort of launched his career, launched him in the stratosphere.
It was his first big movie. His first,
100%.
Like, he's the main actor, right? It was the first time.
Yeah, he's the first time he's the lead. Yeah, he's absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Apparently, it's not your first time playing the lead, though. I hear.
What?
You were just finished filming a movie in your own rights there, weren't you?
We actually have one more. We have one more day of shooting.
Ah, okay.
February 17th, I think, is our last day of shooting on that one. So
I thought you guys were done.
Yeah,
Here I am.
When it's done and it's all cut and edited or whatever, I'll sheepishly plug it or whatever to help my friend Robert out. They're going to try to shop it around and see if they can get funding so we can do like a full length feature or whatever. So
guys, this is being produced by our buddy. Well, your good friend, Robert Bellamy.
Yep. Written and directed by Robert as well. So
yeah, you guys haven't seen his podcast. I believe he's on Tuesdays.
He is the Movie Madhouse. They're up in like the 450-ish episode range. Like, they've been doing that for a long time.
Rob, I'm gonna have to go through your episode list and start ripping off some of your ideas, bud.
To be fair, they do a lot of top 10 lists too. Like
they do. I know they do. It's funny. I caught one of their top 10s a couple weeks ago. I thought that was funny. Actually, I think it was during the holidays. They were doing their top 10 Christmas movies, like we did a couple years ago or last year, or whatever it was. So, not saying we did it first. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Not. I do want to mention really quickly, even though it's kind of outside of the genre as well. Have you guys seen the new trailer for Henry Cavill's new movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
So I have not.
Holy shit. Go watch that trailer, because that looks like he's having more fun than he's ever had in any movie ever. He looks like he's having a blast. Alan Ritchson is in it, who's the guy that plays Reacher.
Yeah.
Henry Golding is in it, who's the Asian guy that was in Crazy Rich Asians, and he was in The Gentleman. So it's Guy Ritchie, who also did The Gentleman and Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Really?
If you haven't seen this trailer, look at everybody. Yes, oh my God, yes, holy shit. This trailer is one of the best recent trailers I've seen. Everybody looks like they're having the time of their fucking lives, including Cavill, who looks completely unhinged in the film. And it's based on a true story. It's essentially the first team of Black Ops operatives in World War II, commissioned by Churchill, of which Bond author Ian Fleming was one, by the way. That's how he got the idea for James Bond.
Really? So
yes.
Is he in this, like, is the character of Ian Fleming in this movie?
I think one of the characters is meant to be sort of like the portrayal of.
Interesting.
It looks so goddamn fun. Even if you're not a Cavill fan, even if you're like, because I understand, especially for Guy Ritchie movies, Guy Ritchie's a bit of a, like, either you're into Guy Ritchie films or you're not.
Oh, yeah.
But I happen to absolutely love Guy Ritchie movies. Yeah. Guys, go JS. I'll watch the international trailer of Frozen Empire.
Yeah, I'll go watch that.
As soon as this is over, I want you to watch it while I'm on with you when this is done.
Sure, we'll share it on the screen so we can watch it together.
Brother, you're going to fucking lose your mind. It looks amazing. I cannot wait. It's April, I think, is when that's coming out. Just watch the trailer twice immediately. I think I watched it 30 times. Like, I already have such a giant man crush on Henry Cavill as it is.
It says the trailer did things for me.
Yeah, it made parts of me awake that I didn't even realize I had those parts. Like, it's just so... Cavill's got like the curly hair. He's got the twirly mustache. Like, it's happening in like the late 30s, early 40s, right? Like, it's World War II time.
Andre's saying, I love The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Man from U.N.C.L.E. was really good too. Yeah, that was a
criminally underrated film.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what Slicky's saying. Totally underrated.
Yeah, and unfortunately, since then, Armie Hammer's been very canceled, so you're not going to get a sequel to that unless they recast him. But I think this movie probably has the potential to start building on a franchise and moving forward with that, which would be cool for Guy Ritchie, because other than the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies, he hasn't had a franchise to build off of. So, which, by the way, we're still crossing our fingers that we're going to get a third Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, Sherlock Holmes movie. I know they keep talking about the idea. So,
really?
Yeah.
I mean,
RDJ has mentioned it a few times, but I mean, I assume it's just getting everybody's schedules to line up to be able to actually physically do it. So
interesting. I mean, I love the first 2. I've always loved Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, me
I've read a lot of Sherlock Holmes stories.
Yep.
I have a couple of books of Sherlock Holmes, like they're anthology books type deal.
Yep.
Short stories. I guess they're all short stories, really.
Mostly.
Yeah, I've always loved Sherlock. So yeah, I've watched Elementary. I've watched Sherlock. Although I didn't see the last season of Sherlock. I have to go back and see that. There's those 3 last ones I didn't see, but okay. Well, there you go.
Nope. Stop right where you are. You're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When he died and then came back the next season, I thought was a little much to begin with. That season was already a little.
Yeah. That season stretches things. The 4 seasons.
Moriarty comes back and he comes back, and it's like, don't watch. How many people are we bringing back from the dead here? Right?
Don't watch the 4 seasons. It's not good.
Yeah. But Tana says yes, more Holmes. Yeah, please, definitely.
Yeah, those 2, the chemistry between RDJ and Jude Law was a fan.
It was really good.
Like really made those films for me. Like, even if the structure of the film may not have worked as well, those 2 just put the film on their back and carried it with their chemistry. So yeah, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like people bitch about the Venom films, but when you realize it's Tom Hardy arguing with himself, because he voices Venom as well as himself as Eddie Brock. For me, I don't even care about the story of those movies. It's just listening to Tom Hardy argue with himself in those 2 voices.
Yeah, and 90% of the movie is him talking to himself. Like,
it's
so
fucking
good.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh every time
I
watch it. I just turn off my brain. I have a couple of drinks, and I watch
the second one was weaker than the first one.
It was. I agree.
I don't like the origin story without Spider-Man.
I get it,
but they were fantastic movies.
It's fucking fun, man.
Yeah, I love them. Hey,
I
know it's that
all
time.
Of Sherlock is a great show. Megan, I love you, but no, it's not. That 4th season is not good, especially comparatively to the first 2, and then sort of the third. The 3rd season was already kind of falling off a cliff.
Yeah, 3rd season was,
and then the 4th season was like, hold my beer, and then just jumped off the goddamn cliff. So
yeah.
I know Megan's a big Sherlock. Like,
she's
a fan of all things Sherlock kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So
I liked how the show was very well filmed. Well, we call them shows, but let's be honest, guys. If you haven't watched Sherlock, the BBC produced show called Sherlock is a series of movies. Every season has 3 hour and a half to 2 hour movies.
Yeah.
So every season has 3 stories, which are usually somehow interconnected. At least that's what they tried to do with season 3, which anyway. I completely forget where I was going with it. Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't
It's,
do it. It's not. You're gonna get mad at yourself for wasting 5 hours of your time. I guarantee you.
But the rest of the show was fantastic. I loved how they filmed it.
Seasons 1 and 2 are some of the best TV ever produced.
I loved how they show you how he processed information.
Yes.
That was dope. They had never done anything like that before.
And they actually used cell phones. That was the first time I remember seeing something where, like, yes, cell phones exist. Do you know how many movies you're watching in the modern era where you're thinking the whole time, like, the entire plot of this movie could be solved in 4 seconds if someone just breaks out a cell phone and calls somebody? And Sherlock was like, you're right. So we're going to incorporate that technology heavily into every plot of every story. I was like, this guy gets it. This show gets it. Don't just ignore technology like it doesn't exist. Like it wouldn't just immediately solve so many problems in these fucking movies.
Well, they do that because they don't want to date. Yeah, they do that because they don't want to date the show, right? They don't want you to watch the show in 10 years and be like, oh, look at the.
No, I get it. But like, come on, man. Like cell phones exist when this show's made. Stop pretending that they don't.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to build a plot here, and a cell phone would probably ruin the plot. But then, so figure out a plot that works with cell phones. Don't fuck around. Everybody on the planet has one.
All that to say, I hope they do another movie. I know their portrayal of Sherlock was very different. They tried to do a more time appropriate Sherlock, where the show did a more modern Sherlock.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm okay with both. I love RDJ's portrayal, although I think
surprisingly enough,
I think for me, Cumberbatch is Sherlock.
Yeah,
I love him as Sherlock. I think and it's his best role. For me, he'll always be Sherlock.
Well, and that's the problem, right? The two of them, him and Martin Freeman, got so popular making that show that they literally, but they were both like, yeah, we just can't commit to doing any more of the show because we both got busy doing other projects and shit. So, and definitely, especially Cumberbatch, like that has not slowed down. He's everywhere doing everything. So
he is,
not just in Marvel, but other projects as well. And then Martin Freeman, keeps coming up and stuff too. So I don't know that you're going to see any of that. Yeah, and Enola Holmes too. You know what? You got Enola Holmes on Netflix. There's been 2 of those, and then
Enola Holmes was good too.
Sherlock on that. So yeah, dude.
The second one wasn't as good as the first one, but Enola Holmes was really good.
I was the one pulling for Moriarty on our top 10 villains list that everybody got mad about. Like I get it, man. Sherlock is such a unique, really cool character that essentially built the hard-boiled detective drama in novel series from Arthur Conan Doyle when he put them out. So yeah, dude, I will take all of the Sherlock Holmes stuff that you want to give us as long as it's good, right?
Everybody's talking about Cavill again. All things Cavill, yes, please, because Cavill is Holmes.
God among men is what he is. By the way, he's just started training for the Highlander reboot that they're working on.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that as well. And he's still talking with Amazon Prime. I guess they've really started to focus in on the Warhammer 40K stuff they're going to be doing with Amazon Prime. So we don't have to worry about our boy Henry Cavill. He's a busy boy. He's going to keep doing. So he's out promoting Argyle now, and then he's going to start promoting.
Oh yeah, that's going to be amazing too. That looks really good.
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare after that, and then after that he's going to be working on the Highlander and the Warhammer 40K stuff. So yeah, our boy Cavill's definitely a busy boy, and he should.
And I love that
he's God's perfect creature. So
more and more Cavill is doing just geeky stuff, right? Stuff that he wants to be in. A lot of you don't see him in like, I don't know, to give you for an example, right? You'll see him in The Witcher. You'll see him in all these crazy movies and shows. But yeah, I love that. He's totally into it. And he's one of us.
The only one. That's
I remember when we had that conversation about how Connor dies. And I said, I think he dies at the hands of the character from the TV show, which is his brother, cousin, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And you were like, no, I don't think so. Well, yes, that's exactly what happens. They
Super
did
not what I said. I never watched the show, brother, so I wouldn't have the foggiest clue if that's how he died. So I would
maybe it was somebody else that said that.
I would absolutely take your word for that. So.
Maybe it's somebody else that said that.
Yeah, it must
but yeah, they did a movie based on the TV show.
Right.
I forget what it was called now. Highlander Endgame, I think it was what it was called.
Sure.
It was more the story of Adrian Paul's character, which is Duncan MacLeod.
Right.
And at the end of the movie, they fight, and Connor forces him to kill him because he's done. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that was supposed to be the passing of the torch, but then the show died off after that. So,
yeah, I never got into the show, and after the second Highlander film, I was like, "Fuck this franchise." I did watch the third one. The third one was at least, again, same thing, kind of like
better than
Indiana
the third,
better than the second one, just not as good as the first.
Second was just weird as fuck, man.
They tried to turn into a weird sci-fi thing, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's like we talked about earlier when you try to over-explain something that's like mystic, that's meant to be mysterious and mystical, and then you try to over-explain it, and you've just taken all the mystique out of it, and you're just like, they're aliens? That's why they're immortal? What the fuck are you doing? They're from Zeitgeist? What?
Yeah,
it's bizarro, so weird. And they got Sean Connery back for that film too. They brought him back from the dead for Highlander 2, and it was dog shit. So I don't know, man. That was rough.
Yeah.
The second doesn't exist.
It's just a weird movie. Sorry, by the way, so that's why I didn't get into the show. I couldn't get into the show. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hopefully this reboot is gonna. Back in the day when those movies came out in the 80s and 90s, they were meant to be serious movies, right? They weren't meant to be silly, kooky, I hope they keep that tone, right? Where it's more grounded and it's more serious and I don't know. I think that works with that character and I think it works with Cavill. I think The Witcher has proven that, right? He can be that guy.
He can absolutely be a kick-ass swordsman. There's no question there. He can lead a franchise. I don't think there's any question there. So I'm excited for it. Yeah, if you go back and watch the original Highlander film, there are some spots where you're like, I'm not saying it doesn't hold up because it is a cult classic and everything else, but I mean, it is a movie of its time, is what I guess.
100%,
right? So the concept and the idea of it is so cool. I think if they do a hard reboot, if they ignore everything that's come before and they just literally start the story fresh and he's playing Connor McLeod coming into his powers and then the quickening starts to happen, I am so down for that with all the modern technology and everything else. And watching Cavill, the guys on the Witcher set said that Cavill was one of the best swordsmen they'd ever seen. Not the best actor portraying a swordsman, but one of the best swordsmen they'd ever worked with. So he clearly knows what the fuck he's doing. I'm really looking forward to it. Everybody's mad at Megan Murray. I've never seen Highlander, so I'll just wait for Cavill's version now.
Everybody's saying, no, you have to see it.
Megan, no, you need to see it. You need to watch. Yeah. All the Gen Xers are getting mad at poor little millennial Megan over there. Like, how dare you? And the movie came out like before she was born. Yeah.
Another one that came out in those eras that I hope that one day they reboot is Scanners. Remember Scanners with Michael Ironside?
Yeah, and I think there was even a couple of like weak ass sequels for that too. That's David Cronenberg. That's early David Cronenberg for
Scanners. Scanners 2 and 2 was a real drop. 3 was like a made-for-TV movie. It was so bad, like it was really, really bad.
Yeah, I actually they just released a trailer for they're doing a sequel to Megamind. I don't know if you guys remember, but when they did Despicable Me, they also did Megamind. So there were two sort of competing franchises for like a supervillain being the star of the show that eventually turns into like an anti-hero. And Despicable Me made a gajillion dollars and Megamind didn't. So it kind of fell off. But between the two, Megamind's actually kind of the better film. And so they made a sequel to it, but it's like a direct to streaming sequel, and literally none of the original voice cast is back for it.
Oh, really?
So I just saw the trailer for it. The trailer looks so fucking bad. It looks like a Saturday morning cartoon as opposed to like an actual true. So we wait like 14 years for a sequel to Megamind, and it looks fucking terrible. And not a single voice actor is back from the film. So I'm like, why did you even do this? Like, this makes no sense. So
yeah.
And Andre, I'm an old fogey. You're super not. Never seen Highlander either. Well, I have a homework assignment for Andre Ferguson and Megan Murray, and Natasha Wright and Victoria Brown. Guys.
We'll watch Highlander, the first one.
Go watch the first Highlander. And by the way, and guys, please, remember, it was already like a low budge film in the first place, and it's like from 1986 or whatever it is, right? So like, go into that with that sort of ideal. Because I have screened that movie for somebody in modern times, and they did not enjoy it at all. They didn't kind of go into it with that mindset that it's like from Matt Sheridan said, never watched either. Matt, this is like the ultimate guy movie from that era.
Yeah, that I'm surprised.
Card, sir. That's, I think. And
One
Beck says it's
thing,
trash. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
one
She's
thing
clueless.
maybe you have to know about Highlander is who plays the Highlander, and that's Christopher Lambert.
Yes, a French guy
And
plays a
a
Scottish
French
guy.
guy plays a Scottish guy.
So it's tough.
But back in those years, in 1986, when the Highlander came out, Christopher Lambert, he was huge back then, right? Like he was a massive star.
Yeah, and the funny part is before he got to Hollywood, he did not know a word of English. All he spoke was French. So a lot of the lines you see him saying, even in Highlander, he had to learn phonetically. So if he does not have a Scottish accent at all throughout the whole movie, and they don't really explain why he doesn't have a Scottish accent. But to be fair, if you're watching the first Highlander, you're not watching it for Christopher Lambert, as great as Christopher Lambert is. You're watching it for Sean fucking Connery, because Sean Connery is brilliant in the first Highlander, and Clancy Brown plays the Kurgan. He plays the bad guy in the first Highlander. He is also amazing. And if you don't know who Clancy Brown is, trust me, you do know who Clancy Brown is, because he's been in almost everything. He was in the Shawshank Redemption. He's voiced Lex Luthor. He's the voice of Mr. Krabs. He's been on Billions. He's been in Hollywood
everywhere
for like 40 years, and he's played so many different things. But the Kurgan in the original Highlander was like his breakout role, because he's such a huge, physically imposing guy. And he's got this amazing deep voice, and he plays such an amazing villain in that film. And Ramirez is Sean. So a French guy is playing a Scottish guy, and then a Scottish guy is playing a Spanish guy.
Yeah.
That's how it works in this film. None of it makes sense, but it doesn't matter, because you just have to like buy into it. And once you do, especially if you're a Clancy Brown and or a Sean Connery fan, you will love this fucking movie. Trust me when I tell you, go watch this movie. Yes, he was Raiden in the original Mortal Kombat. That's correct. That is Christopher Lambert. Yep.
Correct. He was Raiden. That's right. Yep. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, so there's a reboot coming. Hopefully it's good. I mean, with Henry Cavill, as the lead, knowing how vocal he is about the roles that he plays, I'm assuming if it's shit, he's gonna.
Yeah.
He's just not going to want to do it, right?
Oh, and just so we're clear, too, the guy directing the Highlander reboot is the same guy that's been responsible for the John Wick films. So,
yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
Chad Stahelski is the guy that's doing, and developing and then directing the reboot of Highlander. So, if you enjoy the sort of look and tone of the John Wick films, which are very visceral, not heavily reliant on effects, a lot of live action stunt work. If you're into all that and you think that would translate well to a Highlander reboot, I think this is going to be the movie for you. And the fact that we already know that Henry can wield a sword effectively and well, I think we got a good chance of seeing a film that really leans into practical effects like the John Wick films do, right? I think you're going to see a lot of actual like fighting. Oh, yes. Lambert also did Tarzan, The Legend of Greystoke. Yes, that was a fucking fantastic film. Again, he's got like 7 lines in the whole movie because, again, I think that was his first role, and he didn't know it. They had to teach him phonetically what his English lines were because he didn't know any English.
Yeah,
he had no idea what he was actually saying at that point. The Legend of Greystoke is actually a pretty cool film. Yeah. Shit, I haven't watched that since it came out. When did that come out? Like 84, maybe?
It says 84 here. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched it since then, but I really enjoyed that film.
Mortal Kombat, Beowulf.
I didn't know that. He did one called Fortress, which was kind of like a lower budget, like prison breakout movie that I really dug. I actually enjoyed that one.
There was a sequel to that wasn't really good.
No, probably not. But the first one was actually quite good.
I'm trying to see here out of all these other ones if there's any other good ones that are memorable. I mean, I've seen most of these movies. I'm not gonna lie.
I like Lambert, but I mean, I got why his career just kind of went to a certain point and then just stopped. So
yeah, I don't even know.
Megan saying, "Okay, I'm convinced. I shall watch when it comes out." Cavill plus practical sword fights. I'm sold. Yeah, I mean, the entire premise of the film is immortals are chopping each other. They're immortal beings, and the only way to kill them is by chopping their heads off. And every time you chop another immortal's head off, you gain power And
you absorb their power.
The premise of the film, the tagline is there can be only one. So they're slowly killing each other off until there's only going to be one guy, and he gets this ultimate prize. But they are immortal. They can't be killed any other way than by having their heads chopped off. So it's like I said, the original film is pretty dope. Queen did the soundtrack for the original film and murdered it. Like, it's a fantastic soundtrack. So yeah, definitely. I think we've sold enough. Go check it out. But again, remember, it's from 1986 and it wasn't a big budget film in the first place. So it became like a cult classic. So just go into that with that in mind. So anywho,
I mean, we're past our hour mark. There's some other stuff on my list that we haven't talked about. There's the big pink elephant in the room that we didn't address, but
which one's
I feel like we're gonna hurt feelings if we talk about that one. Aliens. We haven't talked about aliens at all.
We'll have to talk about that. But hey, do you know what we can do is we can package up the things that we didn't talk about this week, and we can get them into the new podcast that we are going to be launching very, very soon. My guess is in the next couple of weeks. The Geekly World News Podcast, guys, is going to be coming at you. We're thinking we're doing it live. We want your input and feedback as to when would be a good time to do that. Michael Myers has already weighed in and said we probably shouldn't do it on Monday. You're probably right. I don't know.
We'll have to think about that one.
Yes, we got to pick a date. We got to pick it. We got to pick a day. We got to pick a time. And ideally, we would do that one weekly so that we wouldn't end up like this, where we're having to talk about 87 things because it's been 4 months since we've done it. So, guys, weigh in.
2 months.
It's been too long, basically. If it's weekly, then we'll have just that thing. We'll keep the episodes short if we can do it weekly.
Yeah.
And we'd like to continue to do it live with you guys. So, Sunday night, it's a good idea. I mean,
Sunday night might be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out our schedules too and make sure it's going to work. So live or pre-recorded, I'm there. Thank you, Silky. That's great. Well, I think it probably works best if we're doing it live.
I think having the input from people and the interaction, I mean, it also
our boy
helps.
Steve, our boy Groot over here, Monday at 7. Sorry, Myers. Yeah. Make it Wednesday Hump Day podcast. I think we'll probably put something on the Geeks & Co main channel story, and maybe I'll put something on my story. It's just a poll, and we'll
that's a good idea.
What day works best for folks that we can get the most of you tuning in to weigh in on the Geekly World News and get your thoughts and opinions on stuff. So, because we are nothing without you guys.
No, and I don't know if it's going to be a thing where it's regularly every week, or is it going to be every other week? Is it going to be once a month? Is it going to be impromptu where this week we do one because something happened and next week we don't because nothing's happening? Like, I don't know, right?
If we call it Geekly World News, I feel like it's anyways. We'll figure it out, guys. We'll figure it out. Don't you worry.
But let us know your input, right? We want to know, and we want to know if there are specific stories you want to hear about. Let us know as well.
And are you guys ready for another weekly podcast? With the understanding that it's only going to be JS and I. We're never going to have a guest, and it's going to be shorter. It's definitely going to be. It's going to be like half the length of this. Hopefully, let us know if that's something that you guys would be interested in tuning into and participating in with the live chat like we're doing now. So, and on that note, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be it. There's nothing really going on this side. Anything going on with you over the next little while?
No, it's just literally, prep, yeah. It's just the crunch has already started, even though we're still it's February 1st, man. It's February 1st. March 15th is when TCC is here. Yeah. So thankfully, I've only really got the one costume to get ready, and I've got probably 70% of it done. So, and like I said, I just saw the leather worker to get the leather work done. I do still have to paint the 3D printed pieces. I have to assemble the swords. I got to get those done, and I guess I got some work, man. So we'll see. So. Monday night is Nerd Night. Tuesday is Rob's podcast. I don't know who that is. Thursday is this one. That leaves. Oh, right. That leaves this Wednesday and Friday free for weekdays. Yeah. So we'll see. Will you guys do shorts as well with quick little news updates too? We might. Yeah. We can talk.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing too. Is if we do it live, if we do it off the air, then we can edit it, right?
Right.
And make it look good and make shorts and stuff like that. The problem is if we're doing the news, that means that it does need to be edited right away and put out right away, or else it's no longer the news, right? If it's
Whereas if we do it live, we don't have to worry about it. It's just automatically.
It's just live, right? Yeah. So that's always the problem with editing, right? Is we always end up in situations where we just don't have time, and even with Megan, right? It's
tough.
And I know we haven't been putting out a lot of videos lately, guys, and we apologize. I know we've been focusing on the podcast, but there is more coming, guys. There is more coming.
I promise you.
Hang tight.
Yeah.
got more content for you. Hopefully, we'll
Sweet.
also be able to start ramping up the videos also after Comic-Con is done and that rushes over. We'll have a couple months to make more content for you guys.
Well, I did submit the one to you guys for the cosplay PSA for the Zentai suits, so hopefully that'll get posted at some point in the near future. I think that's on the drive there.
Oh, okay.
And then I've got another one that I've got pre-recorded as well. It's a much shorter cosplay PSA about character selection, that kind of stuff. So I want to try to make it so that I'm doing that on almost a weekly basis.
That'd be awesome. Megan, if you can let me know if those have actually been edited and if they're ready to go. I think they might be.
The first one is talking about the Zentai suit. It is, and she's uploaded to
okay, well then I will have to get that posted. So guys,
yeah, sounds
that's
good.
more Aka coming to you.
Oh, look!
Make sure you click that like button.
Anything you guys do, we'll always love it. And Silky C says exactly.
Talking about loving it, make sure you click that like button, guys. We super appreciate it. It's 100% free. If you are not subscribed, what are you doing? Click the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you click that little bell there, it'll actually let you know anytime we go live, anytime we upload a video, anytime we do anything here. So make sure you've got that clicked.
Yep.
I think that is going to be it for this week, though. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you stay geeky. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys.
Oh, top 10 next week.
Oh. News.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss anything.